Hi everyone, this is Diva from Blood Hunter, and you're listening to the Metal Pit podcast.
Welcome to the Metal Pit Podcast. This is where we dig deep into the riffs, the legends, and the chaos that make heavy metal what it is today. You can check out our latest reviews, Metal Maiden of the Month, interviews, and more at our website at www.themetalpit.org. Stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook at The Metal Pit and at The Metal Pit Podcast. And visit our YouTube channel at the Metal Pit 666. If you have any album suggestions or maybe you want to be a guest on an episode, email us podcast@themetalpit.org. Please rate and review us. Here we go, the Metal Pit Podcast. And this week's guest is one of my writers from the Metal Pit, and it is Shell. How you doing, Shell?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you going?
Good. And of course, Shell is a writer from Australia, if you can't tell by her voice.
Should be able to tell my accent's pretty twangy.
It's a cute Australian accent.
Yeah, I don't know when people like the Australian accent. It seems weird to me. I find it pretty grassy and harsh.
Nobody likes how they sound themselves.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, so this week on the Metal Pit Podcast, we're going way back before Shell was born.
Yes, it's interesting talking about an album that was made long before I was born, actually.
Yes, and we're going back to 1968. I was 2 years old. I guess I can tell my age there. So I was 2 years old at the time. I don't really remember when it came out. But of course, people are thinking, well, I guess you're going to know who it is when you see the picture on the podcast cover. But anyway. So yeah, they're going back to Led Zeppelin in 1968 and their second album titled 2. And do you remember when, now since you weren't born yet, when did you first hear Led Zeppelin maybe? Do you remember maybe?
Well, I guess my earliest memories would be just my dad putting it on, in the lounge room. He would have put on a whole range of different albums and heavily influenced, I've said before, heavily influenced my taste in music these days. And he would have just chucked it on. He had it on record, so he used to put on a lot of vinyls, when we were cleaning the house and things like that on a Sunday. And it would have been one of those afternoons where we're just chilling around the house and he puts on Led Zeppelin and those seeds were planted.
No, I don't remember. Now, I had 2 older brothers, and they might have listened to Led Zeppelin. I think they did, but I can't really remember. Like, I know, as people have heard before, it was like I was 16 years old when I really got into heavy metal, but I would have heard Led Zeppelin before on the radio, Stairway to Heaven, of course.
Yeah.
On the radio. And maybe a couple other songs I know one from this one here, the first track, Whole Lotta Love, was on the radio, but anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, I know I didn't really like Stairway to Heaven. I got into heavy metal music like Iron Maiden and stuff, and then thrash came, and that was really what I was into. And so I didn't really like Led Zeppelin that much back then. It was as I got older and listened to the albums more, and now they're like one of my favorite groups. Not now, they didn't just become one of my favorite groups, but I mean, they are one of my favorite groups of all time now. And I never got to see them live because, again, I was young, and they only made, was it 9 albums, 8 albums? Yeah, it's in here somewhere. But, and then of course the drummer passed away, John Bonham, and then they stopped touring except for the special things that they would do, maybe with his son, Jason Bonham. So I never got to see Led Zeppelin.
Unfortunately, what I do. one of those bands on my bucket list as well that I never got to tick off.
Yeah.
Would have loved to have seen them, but yeah.
And it's funny to think when they were touring, like back in the 70s, it was like $5 for a concert ticket, I think.
Wow. Wouldn't that be nice?
And they'd get whatever full hoses, of course, because
Yeah.
which will I have some stuff about that as we go along here. So anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
so we're doing Led Zeppelin II. And
Yeah.
I remember having the cassette for Led Zeppelin II and the vinyl.
Wow.
I think I did too.
No.
But I think it must have been cassette, must have been what I was, because I don't have many cassettes, but I did have this one. But that was at the time that it must have been out, was when I had cassettes for some reason. But I did have the
Yeah.
vinyl too. But cassettes I could take it in my Walkman.
And that's right.
Or
Very
whatever.
versatile.
But I know I remember listening to this album a lot or whatever. But it's
did,
funny. We're gonna finish this with our top 10 Led Zeppelin songs, and I really like this album, but none of the songs on this album made my top 10 list, which might be kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I love Led Zeppelin, so that's why. So we'll figure that out. But anyway, so I'm sure most people know who Led Zeppelin is. Formed in 1968. Of course, Jimmy Page on guitar, Robert Plant, singer, John Paul Jones, bass player, and keys, I guess. And then John Bonham was the drummer, of course. And they were originally formed called the New Yardbirds after the breakup of the Yardbirds, which was Jimmy Page's previous band. I don't know where they got, I forget. I probably heard it before, but I didn't see it in my looking today of how they got the name Led Zeppelin again. Do you know that? Anything about that?
I believe it's because when they were forming the band, the confidence in their band surviving was compared to a Led Zeppelin. So I was going to go down like a Led Zeppelin. And I believe that's why they're called Led Zeppelin. But I could be wrong, but that's the fact that I've heard.
No, that sounds familiar. I think that, because that's what I was kind of looking for when I was looking, but I couldn't find where it said this is where the name came from. But I have heard that before, maybe in a documentary or something I watched.
Yeah.
That. So yeah, so this album or their sound, of course, Led Zeppelin isn't just one sound. They got blues and hard rock and folk and psychedelic stuff and everything. And this, of course, is their second album, like we said. And this was a lot more heavier than the first album was, even though the first album had some heavy songs like Communication Breakdown, which was kind of, I don't know, that could be like the first heavy metal song in a way, because I would have been 68 probably. That album came out, or maybe they had two albums in 69 because bands used to do that back then. Nobody does it now. It's like one album every 5 years or something now. But anyway, they have as a group sold 200 to 300. Now, I don't know. This is, I think Wikipedia saying this. I'm not sure why the big range, but they've sold at least 200 million records worldwide. Not of this one, but of all the records.
Yeah.
This album made it to number 1 on Billboard's U100 in the United States. And they never wanted a single released, but in the United States, I don't know who it was, record company or something, but they released Whole Lotta Love as a single, even though the band didn't. See, because I was reading today about how Led Zeppelin, they got the rights when they got signed by whatever the label was, Atlantic maybe for the first, yeah, this one was Atlantic. And I think the first one was 2, or maybe it wasn't, doesn't matter, but they got the rights to do whatever they wanted to do, not like nowadays.
Okay.
So they could do whatever they want. They could put on the album cover what they wanted. They could do this and that, and they didn't have videos, of course, back then anyway, much. But so I like that, especially when you get to Led Zeppelin 4, even though we're not talking about that. I talked about that before. I think I did an episode on that one, where the label hated the fact that it didn't say Led Zeppelin on the album, but they didn't want anything. They didn't even want it to have anything, but they persuaded them to at least put an image on it. But there's no mention of the name. It doesn't say Led Zeppelin. It doesn't say it on the side of the album or anything. But that's probably their best-selling album because they were huge and they didn't have to do all this stuff that everybody else has to do these days, and the record labels make them do. So do we want to get on to the songs, or you want to say anything else before we get on to the song.
Well, I just wanted a few, when I was researching about this album, I did come across a few little fun facts that I probably want to share, and maybe you can give your opinion on these facts and see if you've ever heard of any of these things before. So with this album, they did play around with stereo panning, and I believe they were one of the first bands to sort of play around with stereo panning, where the sound actually pans from one stereo to another, giving that whole room feel of for the music, which I found pretty interesting. And also another fact is that they never actually played full songs on the radio, and they would actually sue radio stations for playing entire songs on the radio because it created mystery, I guess, for the song. So people want to go out and buy the album so they can hear the song in its entirety. So that was like a little PR stunt, I guess they did with the songs, which I found really interesting. They were also sued twice for plagiarism on this album from blues artists, which I didn't know about either. Also, it was like an unorthodox sort of style with this album where a lot of the songs were led by John Bonham, by the drummer, which was pretty unorthodox at the time, which I found pretty interesting. And also the album cover. I'm not sure if you know much about the album cover, but there's a lot of like little hidden things in the album cover. So they actually copy and pasted a few faces, their manager, and there's a couple other people that they've put the faces on the soldiers on the album cover. And also there says that there's Mary Poppins somewhere on the album cover too, but I've looked so closely and I cannot see any. Apparently it's the actress that played Mary Poppins. Her face is in there somewhere. So I don't know why they did that. I think it was just a bit of fun. They just did that. And they also recorded the entire album while they were on tour as well. So
Yes, I read that, and I don't think Robert Plant was actually happy about some of
really?
that, and like, it was probably felt rushed, and they recorded it at different studios as they toured, which is definitely not.
Would have been quite difficult. But the outcome was great. So, I mean, it worked.
I think Led Zeppelin IV is the most, I don't know, I probably have some of the stuff in here. We'll just get on. I think Led Zeppelin IV is probably the biggest selling one, but this was one that, well, they said that broke them, but I don't know, like, because there wasn't, I mean, you had Black Sabbath out at the same time, I guess, and Deep Purple, even though Deep Purple probably didn't get really heavy till 72 Machine Head album, but they were around. And of course, there was other hard rock groups going around, but this was still pretty new. Because even, I don't think I made a note of it, but I read it where this was too heavy for American top 40 radio to play the song.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, some of the songs they're not all heavy.
It's funny to think that now, isn't it?
Yeah.
With all the music that's out nowadays.
I don't know if they do this in Australia, but in Canada on New Year's Eve, they would always have a top, 100 songs of all time or something. So people vote their favorite songs, and it was almost always Stairway to Heaven was number one.
Oh, yeah.
List. Now, maybe that's why because I didn't really like the song back then, but probably because you hear it all the time, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Played to death. Yeah.
And it's a slow song until the end of the song. So I can appreciate it now, but it's not like one of my favorites.
It is overplayed. You're right there.
But we get that with lots of groups like Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple.
Yeah, that's right. And Guns N' Roses, God, kill me.
Okay, so let's go track by track. I think I have some more notes at the end too that I can share.
Sure.
Okay, so A Whole Lot of Love. So what do you think of now? I don't remember. Again, we don't remember necessarily when we first heard this because I obviously didn't hear it. You didn't hear it because you weren't alive.
Yeah.
I was too. So it's different because sometimes they do an album like Number of the Bees, I'll remember exactly, I heard this or whatever. So I don't remember that. But anyway, Whole Lot of Love. What's your take? Whole Lot of Love.
Well, I don't remember the first time I heard it, but I do remember, when I used to play like a rock playlist or something at work, and Whole Lotta Love would come on, and it would create quite an awkwardness because of, those moans that he does in the middle of the song. It's like, even nowadays, like, in a modern society, it can create a bit of discomfort. So I could imagine how controversial it would have been when the song came out. Those moans and the sexuality of the song, it would have been pretty intense and very controversial. So that's what reminds me of this song. It's just, but obviously there's a lot more to it. The flirtatious riffs, obviously very sexually charged as well. That's what the song is all about. Lots of blues influences. And you can see that they've really used that stereo panning and swirling effects in the song as well to give it sort of a psychedelic feel.
Yeah, I read, of course, I didn't make a note of that, of course, here, but I read that Jimmy Page, he was involved mostly in the music part of the band, especially in the early days. So like I think he wrote all the stuff. But him and the producer, whose name, of course, I don't have, but they were just playing with the board, touching all these knobs, doing to make all these things. But I know when you listen to, as soon as you hear the first notes of the song, the song. If you know it's a fan, of course, it's like instant recognizable when you heard the first. Like I guess it was a 5-note riff to start the song, and just yes, it's easily recognizable. And like I said before, in the United States, they released. Now I don't know why they would, like you're just talking about how it could be controversial. And they said in the United States it's too heavy for top 40 music, but they released Whole Lotta Love as a single, but not, they edited it or whatever. Now I don't know what they edited, but they just probably made it shorter, even though it's only 5 minutes long. But back then, all your songs were 3 and 4 minutes, probably. So it's kind of funny that they would have took like maybe the next song, What Is and Which Never Be, like a song they could have put on the radio. So I'm not really sure why they picked this one, but anyway, so I guess they performed Whole Lotta Love at every gig from June 1969 onwards, which I guess they pretty much have to. Now, I don't know if you listen to much Led Zeppelin live albums or not. Have you listened to any?
Celebration Day, I think.
Okay. But when they do a live album, they don't just play the songs. They'll play like a couple minutes, and then they'll go off and play whatever 10 minutes of this or that. Or
they do. So apparently they never play exactly the same set twice. That's one of the facts that I came across as well. Because they do tend to like freestyle a lot when they're on stage, and that's what makes it such a unique performance. And and
I like that. They, even though I never seen them live, but of course I listened to a bunch of live albums of them, and I like them because it seems more interesting.
Of course, it's not rinse and repeat. It seems more personal. Yeah.
Like I loved Iron Maiden, and Iron Maiden was the first group I really listened to, but they never do any of that. It's just tour. It's just the songs. Not that that's bad either.
Yes,
but it's nice.
It's quite robotic, isn't it? If they just come in, play the songs, and then leave. It's kind of just a bit robotic sometimes. So
so
nice to have a bit of an interesting twist.
They played the song in 1979. And it was the last song the group ever performed live with drummer John Bonham on July 7th.
Oh, okay.
It says Nebworth Fair Concert. I don't know I didn't look up what that is. I know that's in the United Kingdom, but I don't know what that was exactly. But anyway, they did. Okay, then we go on to the softer What Is and What Should Never Be. How do you like this song?
Yeah, it's just a nice, romantic, slow, sort of heartbreaky song. One of those classic songs made by Led Zeppelin that, sort of tug at the heartstrings a little bit. And apparently it had to do with Robert Plant's relationship with his wife's sister. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not going to go with the facts that I've read, but it's apparently he is displaying frustration, sadness about the harsh relationship and the rights and the wrongs. And it goes from slow to a slamming heavy chorus to sort of give a vision of or portray sort of reality versus fantasy in the song. So it starts off like sort of dreamy and slow, and then it just sort of smashes into that heavy chorus. So it's sort of that classic storytelling with the music and the drama.
And this is another one where they use some of the different stereo panning, like you said, and yes, it makes it kind of dreamlike in a way. And
Yeah.
Plant's vocals are different, and they add some flanger stuff. I don't know what music parts were there in the 70s or late 70s, but but his voice sounds cool and stuff, and I think every song on this album, but because I say, not that this is a ballad, but it's ballady here and there. But yeah, I like the song, and I was gonna. And I don't know if anybody knew Canadian singer Lee Aaron. Lee Aaron, you remember?
No, you're not.
She was a big thing in the '80s in Canada. Anyway, she had a song called Metal Queen and whatever. But she's still singing today. Not really heavy metal, just kind of rock music. But she did a cover of this song. Her last album was all covers, but she did a version of this song, What Is and What Should Never Be, and I think it's pretty good. So people go check it out. Lee Aaron.
Lee Aaron, all right.
Poster used to be on my locker at high school.
A bit of a fanboy, are we?
Well, I was then. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, she still looks good, but we're probably.
If you're listening to this now,
I don't want to tell her age, but we're probably. Anyway. Okay, then we get to the Lemon song. And what do you think of the Lemon song?
Yeah, so the Lemon song, very impressive bass line, really makes the bass shine in this song. Fast-paced, mid-session, explosion of emotions. The guitar follows the vocals, giving them emotion as well. And this is another song is like about being betrayed by a lover. It's taken from, it's also taken from a blues artist, this song. I think this is one of the ones they got in a bit of trouble over. And they use like a bit of a muffled technique in this one as well, just to add a bit of variety in the sound.
See, it says it was mostly recorded live, and then they included some new lyrics, like "Squeeze my lemon till the juice runs down my leg."
Yeah. I think that one was taken from the blues artist, which is what to bring trouble over.
I think that was Robert Johnson. I think I have a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Howlin' Wolf's Killing Floor. Lyrics inspired by Robert Johnson, I guess. But yeah, there's definitely. I think back then. I mean, I don't care about plagiarism. I don't think they really did anything to be, because they weren't. I don't know. They just thought it was out. They're heavily influenced by blues, so I think it was kind of. Yeah,
I think because they were so successful. I mean, people want a piece of their success. You know what I mean? You get that big. The hungry wolves come out. So it's only natural.
Yeah, if nobody cared about the band, then they wouldn't care.
Yeah, they'd get away with it, right?
But I know I'm not sure which one it was, but they did get sued by somebody. It might have been, I can't remember which one it was, but they settled out of court, because I'm sure Led Zeppelin had lots of money.
Yeah, I think they did settle the lawsuit that they faced. They just mentioned, I believe they mentioned the artist on the back of the album. And that's the only thing they had to do to rectify that. So.
But it's not like they're the only. I mean, every group now sounds like somebody, right? So
exactly, everyone takes from everyone.
And I know I've seen I don't watch videos on YouTube saying, "Oh, look at all these Metallica songs or rip-offs of these other songs," and it's like, I'm not even gonna watch your stupid video, because how many groups ripped off Metallica after them too, right? So
that's right.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Then we get to a gentle love ballad called Thank You. And how are you for your love ballads?
No, look, I am an emotional being when it comes to music. So this one really does hit me in the heart pretty hard. There's some songs, you just listen to and you start to well up a little bit. You're like, just something in my eye. No.
Nice.
This is definitely one of those songs. I feel like a lot of Led Zeppelin songs for me are a bit more emotional because I have a bit of nostalgia behind it in relation to my father, and just reminds me of being younger and hanging out with dad and listening to music. So when the slower songs do come on, I do get a little bit emotional, and these ones are, especially this song, it does tug at the heartstrings with all the sound and the keyboard with it's sort of a ceremonial keyboard at the start, like you could imagine at a wedding or something like that. And lyrics like, if the sun refused to shine, mountains crumbled to the sea. Love is what gets you through. That's just beautiful to me. It is just poetry. And it's just got a sense, like it's got a grand sense because it's got the organs. You feel like you're in like this grand church, and the organs just give that, sort of elevate the song to a really grand level. And I just find it to be a really beautiful song.
Now, as I've said on this podcast many times, I don't like ballads usually. There's some
Yeah.
groups that can handle ballads, and I can handle Led Zeppelin ballads because of Robert Plant's voice. And when we get to my top 10, probably some surprises in my top 10. Not that I have ballads on it, I guess, but anyway, because the Page's acoustic guitar playing is great. Maybe not in the song necessarily, but on some of them on my list. But yes, and I guess he played a 12-string guitar on this one. And of course, Paul Jones was playing the organ at the start of the track there, the keyboards. And I guess this was written by Robert Plant as a love song. You said that the other song, the one, was it before that? Or no, What Never Should Be, whatever.
Yeah.
But this one is by Robert Plant about his wife, Maureen. And
Yes.
I believe is he still with her? I know he has a wife that they've done some music together. I'm assuming it's the same person. I don't know.
No, I'm not too sure.
But anyway, I don't mind the song. It might be my least favorite one on the album, but I still like the song. I wouldn't say if I'm listening to it. Then we get into a heavier one with Heartbreaker. And so what do you think of Heartbreaker?
Yeah, obviously a great song. The opening riff guides, the vocals, a lot of storytelling in it, a lot of swagger. It's putting on a portrayal of, that sort of masculinity, being like, tough in front of the boys and all that sort of thing. But internally fighting heartbreak and dealing with that anger and sadness internally, and trying to put on this front that, it's all okay, I guess, in this song. Just put on the tough front and carry on. And so just really interesting riffs in this song. And also the guitar solo is pretty impressive in this one as well.
Yes, I love Page's guitar work all the time, but it's great solo in this one, and it's kind of it's unaccompanied, like there's nothing else going on, just him. And I guess supposedly, again, I'm reading from Wikipedia or whatever too, so it's whoever wrote that page up. But it says Page, that whoever wrote the page said that Jimmy Page wrote this one mostly for a showcase for his guitar skills.
Yeah, well, you can definitely tell because, the guitar, it's all about the guitar in this song.
Yeah, and this is, they played this one live most of the time since October 69, which is when this album came out. And I mean, I'm just going by what it said because, of course, I've never seen them live, like I said. And I do remember if I ever shuffle in my playlist or something and I hear a Heartbreaker, I'm always... And if I'm just shuffling everything that I have in a playlist, not a Led Zeppelin playlist, but everything else, I'm always disappointed that Living Love with Me doesn't come on right after it. I was so used to listening to it on an album or cassette.
Yeah.
They seem to go together. I don't know. But anyway, what do you think of Loving Made?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's very like upbeat, very catchy song. I find like that sort of main riff, like really iconically 70s. I don't know. It's just got that real 70s feel. And I guess the story behind it is pretty funny because it kind of sort of in a way mocking sort of groupies, or groupie in a way, and you know how they used to. Groupies were pretty big back in the day, 70s and 80s. You get a lot of groupies, you know, chasing around the band members, and you know they kind of only want the guys because of the money and the fame, and you know they sort of taking the piss on that a little bit because you know it kind of, I guess, as a band member, sort of in a way cry me a river, but they get, you know, they're only seen as one thing.
Yeah.
And they really look deeper than the rock star and the money, and you know that's why all the girls are chasing them, and you know it's that false reality, it's the fake emotions, it's putting a mask on the person and not really getting to know the person behind the mask, but they've delivered the message in a really groovy, swingy sort of way. So yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, and I guess Jimmy Page never liked the song and refused to play it live, so I don't know if they ever played
Oh,
it
right.
live, or if
Yeah.
it was just maybe after this tour they didn't play it live. And I don't know if he didn't like it because I remember something about Jimmy Page dating a young girl or something.
Jimmy.
So maybe he didn't like it for that.
Might have been a bit personal then, yeah.
So I don't know if the song her or anything. But, and I guess this song was usually played after Heartbreaker on the radio, but again, I don't really understand why they were on the radio. But this is definitely later than. But I remember that too. That's why I always think "Living Loving" should be coming on after I hear Heartbreaker, because it's also on the radio like that too. I guess I'm not really sure why exactly, because they're not the same song or nothing like that. So I don't know, but yeah, it's another great song for me too, because it's the heavy ones, and I like the heavier one the best. Okay, then we go. Is there anything I don't think? Oh yeah, wait. It says that he didn't like playing it live, and then yes, it was never played live by the group, but Robert Plant track live on his 1990 solo tour.
There you go.
There you go.
Interesting, very interesting.
Read my notes, but okay. And we go to track 7, Ramble On. And what do you think of this?
I might have to give away my top 10 list a little bit here because Ramble On is on there. I feel like it's a great song, but again, I think I had a very emotional attachment to it because of my dad. So that's probably one of the reasons it did make the top 10 list. But it's a great song. It's got that emotional elevation from soft to loud. It's got the opening to it is just pure 70s. I just get transported to sitting around a campfire, you know, with your headband on and your acoustic guitar and the crackling fire. We're all sitting there storytelling. It just transports you to something, that opening riff. And it's a bit psychedelic. So again, embodies that sort of 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s feel. And then, I feel like it is a bit of a journey, this song. And it just uses a lot of the techniques used throughout the album to give that sort of swirling psychedelic feel. And then it heightens at the chorus, using the lyric Ramble On. So, yeah, I love this song.
Now, when did the Lord of the Rings book come out? Because I don't know, I read that the lyrics were inspired by that, but I don't.
Oh, yeah, I did actually read about that too. I don't know why I don't have anything written down about that, but
but I can't really tell you if that's true or not. But anyway, that's what it says.
But if that is true, another reason why I definitely love this song. Because I'm a big nerd, so.
Let's see. And they had a few other songs where they kind of bring this later albums. I mean, they kind of bring this into it, Ramble On. But and this is another song they never played live during their main career.
Oh, wow. Really? I didn't know that.
It doesn't say why. It just says they never performed it live. So I'm not sure
Interesting.
why. Then we get to Moby Dick. How do you like this track?
Yeah, well, I mean, very interesting because it's an instrumental. So, yeah, very, very bold, I think, to put just this sort of instrumental. And it was very clever, I think, and definitely showcases their abilities as as musicians, especially John Bonham, because his drum work in this is insane. His ability to control his taps and his everything to create like highs and lows with the power of his hits. Very impressive. I had read that it sort of was meant to symbolize the strength of a man. So the beating of the drums is meant to symbolize like a gorilla beating on his chest. And so it's sort of that male dominance that's sort of meant to shine through in the song. Not sure if that's right, but that's what I read. Makes sense.
Sounds good.
When I listen to the song, I can see it, I can get it. And then sort of like the riffs, sort of a bit of a strut sort of rhythm to it. So strutting, beating, sort of all that sort of male power.
Yeah, it's an instrumental, but I guess it's more so for a drum solo kind of thing, but with other stuff going on too. But I think it was probably John Bonham's wanted to do this. And it is pretty rare back in those days to have an instrumental song, I would think, unless you're classical music or something like that, I guess. But to have an instrumental song, especially like a drum solo, nobody puts drum solos on albums. I don't know if anybody's ever done. I know on the Coda, the last album, which wasn't a real album, but it was taken from other things. There's a drum solo song on that one too, which is really good. And also sometimes he played the drums with his bare hands too.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, he uses his bare hands sometimes. It says
That's great.
in this song. I know I've seen him do it too, and probably in the one that's on Coda for sure. But yes, he was kind of a monster guy there. And yeah, so I don't know, it's a great thing. And when they play this song live, it was usually like 20 minutes long.
Wow.
I think he's doing a 20-minute drum solo.
Yeah.
They did have more drum, and they even had electronic drums later on, stuff.
Yeah.
Bring up for that and stuff too.
Wow.
That would have been a good one to see in concert, I think.
Definitely.
So if bands, I don't really go to concerts much anymore. I don't know if bands even do drum solos, and they used to.
Oh, they do. I mean, Motley Crue definitely do drum solos still while he's on the drum coaster. He still smashes them out.
Yeah, but I think it is changed now where it's not.
Definitely. Times are definitely changing.
Every concert that I see in the 80s, there was a drum solo. And
in modern bands, not so much anymore. It doesn't happen. Bring back the drum solos.
And even guitar solos, like
I know, right?
Yeah, like that.
Needs to be more of those again.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're gonna bring this album on home with the last track. Bring it on home. Okay.
All right.
And how do you like this one?
Right. I think another one that I think this is the main one that they might have got in a little bit of trouble from just reinterpreting a song by Sonny Boy Williamson II, I believe. So the intro and the outro is a reinterpretation of his blues song. And also the vocals are pretty much mimicked, like identical. But it's a great song. That's why they were inspired and wanted to reinterpret it. And I love how they have a bit of a flowing conversation with the harmonica. That's a really cool addition to this song. I really enjoy that. And it's sort of like it's a good way to round off the album because it's this slow, dragging intro. They're longing to go home. They're sort of dragging themselves home slowly, after being on tour and just slowly getting themselves home. And then they have an explosive original midsection, which sort of makes it feel like they're excited, they're home, they're finally home, they're excited. And it just really winds up the album because it's sort of like they've been on tour this whole time. They've recorded the album on tour and now they've finally come on home and the tour's over, the album's recorded and it's finished and hey presto, Led Zeppelin II.
Now, I read, it said it was a cover of a Willie Dixon song originally performed by Sonny Boy Williamson II.
Okay.
But they did change it. So I don't know. Were you sure it's this song they got in trouble for? Or one of them?
I'm not too sure. I don't want to quote that.
I'm not sure either. I don't see it in my notes.
Yeah.
But because I know groups all the time now do covers of songs and they don't get in trouble.
Mm.
But I know
Yeah.
on Wikipedia it does list Willie Dixon in the lyrics that he
Mhm.
wrote some of the lyrics, but I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't get the album out. The
Yeah.
song has it on the actual album.
Yeah.
16.
As I said, well, some of my facts you will have to fact check, correct me on, because I did
Yeah,
a
well,
lot of
you
reading.
could be
and-
right, and I just because back then
Uh,
maybe you weren't supposed to put covers of other groups' songs on your albums. Like
Mhm.
now, it's like a common.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
too late for the
I think you still have to get permission when you use
yeah. So
people's songs these days. You have to get the rights for it.
yes. So, but anyway, so yeah, it's a great song too, I think, and
Yeah.
I love the harmonica stuff in there
Mm.
too. So it's to be different. Okay, so that's the album. Do you want to give it a rating out of 10? Can you do that?
Oh, I wasn't prepared for that.
I know, I surprised you.
I know. Probably drop it on me. Oh, gee. I can't rate a Led Zeppelin album less
Okay,
than a
well, that's
9.
okay.
So
Okay,
it has to.
what's your favorite Led Zeppelin album?
Uh,
Or can you do that?
yeah, I can't even do that.
Well, we don't have to rate it. I'd rate it.
I'd give it a 9, at least a 9. It's got to be a 9. Yeah.
And that's what I would do too, I think. Like I'd probably give
Yeah.
it a 10, but then I'd have to give like other albums a 10 too. Like four.
Yeah, I know. Pretty much every Led Zeppelin album for me is a 9 or above. So, you know,
Okay.
9.5.
And usually we might talk about seeing them live. We already mentioned that. We've never seen them live because
Yeah.
we're too young. Well, I'm not too young, but I just got to see them. And so, yeah. And I don't know if they did a tour thing again. Like they're old. I mean, they're getting old. Even if they, I don't know if I would go because there'd just be so.
I know, it will be packed.
I mean, they could have made like people didn't like when the drummer died and they ended the band, and then people like, oh, they wanted them to keep going. I like that they, in a way, I mean, I like that they quit for their friend. They say we can't if he's not here, we don't want to do it, and that's good. But they could have made so much money.
Yeah,
if they
I know.
kept going. Right?
But I mean, it's very humble of them to, call it a day when the original lineup no longer exists. It's just, it's not the same. So
Yeah.
I respect them for that.
Yes. So do I.
But also upset that I haven't seen them live.
Okay, so I'd say a few notes I have here, just a couple notes here, is that this was the band's first album to hit #1. Well, it's only the second album, but in the US, I mean. And it knocked the Beatles' Abbey Road album off the top spot, I guess. Let's see, by April 1970, it had registered 3 million American sales. And in Britain, it enjoyed 138-week residence on the LP chart. Now, I don't know much about what the chart is. Also, the album reached the top 5 spot in other national album charts, including Canada and Australia.
Yay,
got it covered.
Australia. Doesn't mean anything, but yeah. About
And
10 people.
there was something else with nice. Like the certificate. Now, I don't know. This is off Wikipedia. It has certifications of how many albums sold. It doesn't say what date this was updated at, but at this time. So it had platinum, 12 times platinum in the United States, which was 12 million copies. Now, this platinum thing goes by the amount of your population, I think. So in Canada, it was 9 times platinum, but Canada is a lot smaller population than the United States is. In Australia, I don't know what the population of Australia is, and you don't have to tell me or look it up. But this album went 4 times. This
A
album
few
went 4
million, I
times.
don't know. I
4
think it's
times
like 12
platinum.
million or something.
In
Something
Australia,
like
it
that.
went 4 times platinum, and in the United Kingdom, of course, it also went 4 times platinum.
Hmm.
And let's see, the peak position, it says it was #1 in Canada and #1 in Australia was the highest it ever got, but it doesn't necessarily mean that happened. Oh, no, it does mean in 69 and 70. So it did reach #1 in our countries too, I guess, according if that's correct. And then they had a reissue of 2014, but I don't care about reissues. myself anyway. Okay. Is that all I got? I know, and we're not going to get into the debate because recently Ozzy Osbourne died, and they had that thing before he died, and so all those bands played, which you probably saw it or heard about it or whatever, and about who created heavy metal. But we're not getting into that discussion.
No, that's a bit of too much of a hot topic for me. Thank you.
Yeah. But we had this album. Let's see, who All Music, which was I don't know if that was a magazine or just a website. I don't know, but the editor of All Music said it provided the blueprint for. It says for all the heavy metal bands that followed it, but I wouldn't say all heavy metal bands. But it is a blueprint for hard rock.
It was definitely a very iconic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like Black
influence for
Sabbath
metal.
was and Deep Purple was.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
later on, your AC/DCs and your Aerosmiths and whoever, they all influence different people and stuff. It's not just one group that does it. Everybody.
Right.
Okay. So now we're going to do our top 10 Led Zeppelin songs. I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'll leave the guest to go last. Because, yeah. Okay. So now I put mine in order. You said you didn't put yours in order, and it doesn't really matter because tomorrow I could have changed my order. But anyway, I'm going to read mine. Okay, I'll start from 10, I guess. So I don't have any songs from this album, like I just said, even though I like this album that we just did, I don't have any songs in my list from it. So my number 10 is Houses of the Holy from Physical Graffiti. My number 9 is Cashmere from Physical Graffiti again. My number 8 is, now I have like 4 songs from album number 4 on my list here. So number 8 is When the Levee Breaks. And then my number 7 is Black Dog. And I just happen to have a black dog, but that's not why it's on the list. But that was one. I think Led Zeppelin 4 is the album I listen to the most of Led Zeppelin. I love that album. So anyway, so my number 6, where do I always got Battle of Evermore? Or why are these all in the same order? But there's also from Led Zeppelin 4. And my number 5 is also from Led Zeppelin 4, which is Misty Mountain Hop. And I used to have a cat called Misty. And yes, that is why my cat Misty. Oh.
Nice.
Let's see. My number 3 song is the Immigrant Song from the Led Zeppelin 3. And I think I like that song because it reminds me of Canada since I'm Canadian, because it says we come from the land of ice and snow. Even though
yes.
I know it's not about Canada, but
you take what you want from songs. That's the beauty of music.
and my number 2 and my number 1, they're heavy acoustic guitar led songs. And they're both from Led Zeppelin 3. Number 2 is That's the Way. And my number 1 is Brawn Your Stomp, which I think, again, is not their song. I think that's a cover.
Oh, wow. Okay, interesting.
But I love that song and love That's the Way. And
yeah,
there we go. Like, even though I know Physical Graffiti, or is it Houses? Getting confused here. Physical Graffiti, there's a lot, like could be a lot of more songs. I know you said it's hard to make a list, and yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because I could have had songs from this one. I could have had In My Time of Dying is a song I really like. I think that's on Physical, or is that on Houses? Whatever, it doesn't matter. But there's a whole bunch. The Rover, other songs. There's all kinds of songs that be on the list. And I even like the album Coda, even though it's not a real album. But Poor Tom, the song Poor Tom on there, and the drum solo song, I love those too. So I could have made a top 20 or 30.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's hear your top 10 songs.
All right. Well, going off what you just said, extremely difficult task. It was hard. I might have been a bit naughty and put the last 2 songs on my list. I was just like torn between them, so I just put them both on there. So, all right. So I've got, in no particular order, as I said, because it was too hard for me to put them in order. So I've got Ramble On. Again, as I said, it was more to do with just that nostalgia I had with Dad with that song. I've got the Immigrant Song. I've got Cashmere. Since I've Been Loving You. I'm a bit of a romantic, as I said before, so that one a bit romantic. Fall in the Rain. Black Dog. No Quarter. The Rain Song. I love the Rain Song. Communication Breakdown. Just love rocking out to that one. And the last 2 that I was a bit torn between, I have like just a bit of different emotional tie to both of them. So The Battle of Evermore. It just, that song for me, it was just so versatile for them. Like, it's just so different to anything they've ever written and sort of played. And also, it takes me back to when my dad used to put on a Jimmy Page and Robert Plant DVD. Oh, no, it was a cassette. It was a tape. It was a VHS, I believe. He used to have it playing in the lounge room all the time. And that film clip used to always come on, The Battle of Evermore. And I used to just watch him play the different instruments, and it was just fascinating. And then I had When the Levee Breaks as well on there, because that one, it's obviously tied to so much sorrow and devastation and about the floods and everything. And yeah, so that's a pretty heavy song, and you can't not have that on your list because it's pretty special. So
Now,
yeah, that's my list.
okay, I think I skipped one on mine. Did I? I don't know if I said my number 4, but my number, because I was looking at my thing is, I'm using the tablet here. It's on a different line, but my number 4, if I did miss it, in case anybody's listening that closely, is Going to California, which is also from Led Zeppelin 4. So 5 of my 10 songs are from Led Zeppelin.
Oh, that is a great album, so I'm not surprised.
But yeah, Going to California, that's another one that I really like. And for fun, I did something here. I'm going to do this. I asked ChatGPT, AI. I said, pretend you're a 70-year-old from the United Kingdom and a hippie. What are your top 10 favorite Led Zeppelin songs? Song is "Stairway to Heaven." And then I'm not going to say them all, but I'll just say. And then I also asked them, pretend you're a 22-year-old American death metal fan, but they still like Led Zeppelin. And When the Levee Breaks is that person's number 1 song.
Oh, well, interesting. There you go.
But it also, I'm surprised, it also has Stairway to Heaven on that person's list.
Oh, interesting. I don't think the Stairway to Heaven will be on the list, to be honest. I mean, I'm a 38 death metal Australian fan, but yeah, definitely not on my list. That one. Great song.
I thought it would make the 2 lists really, like, they are different. There's a couple, Kashmir is on both of the lists, and the Immigrant Song, I think, and the rest are different. But I just thought it'd be fun to see what it said.
Yeah, and that is, interesting.
I kind of thought the death metal person wouldn't have Highway to Hell on it. Highway to Hell, Stairway to Heaven. Like, you go to Australia here.
Yeah, I know. Got Australia on the brain. They're touring at the moment, AC/DC, by the way. Yeah, doing their last tour at AC/DC, winding it up.
Are they?
Yeah, they're doing their last concerts. So.
Oh, are they today?
Not today. They're doing their last tours this year.
Their last tour. I know that. That's another band I really like, especially the Bon Scott days.
Yeah.
Probably because I grew up on that, but I love those 5 albums that he did.
Another very iconic band.
I never got to see live, or I probably could have got to see them live, but I just never did. Probably because I wanted to see Bon Scott, and by the time I was old enough for concerts, it was Brian Johnson. It's like, I don't want to see it.
No, they're great. They're great live, but again, it's one of those bands that are kind of robotic. They get on stage, they play the songs, and then get off the stage. And they've got a bit of theatrics happening on stage, but they don't really change it up too much.
Yeah, and and the Pretty Reckless is opening up for AC/DC on this tour. I'm not sure if they were opening up for them. I'm not sure if they still are, or if it's over or whatever. But I like the Pretty Reckless. They might not be heavy metal, but they're hard rock anyway. But yeah, I like the Pretty Reckless. And I was going to mention one more thing before we end this, is that Led Zeppelin just released a new EP. Now, it's just live songs. Have you heard it? No, I guess not.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Yeah, they just came out like last Friday, I think it was. So it's just 4 songs. It's just live songs from Earl's Court in 1975. And it has 4 songs on it: In My Time of Dying, Trampled Underfoot, Sick Again, and Kashmir. But I quick listen to. But that's 4 songs, 34 minutes.
Yeah. There you go.
And you can
compare
that to Slayer's Rain and Blood album, which is only 26 minutes. And that was and this is an EP. But anyway, I don't really know why they released that, but it's good.
Yeah. Why not? People are going to listen to it. I'm going to listen to it. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to add about Led Zeppelin? I think that's all I had.
I think that's all I've I've got to say about that.
Okay. Maybe one day somebody will do I think it's Physical Graffiti. That's the long album, the double album.
Yeah.
But that's a good album too. That will
Yeah.
take a long time podcast on it, but
Yeah.
whatever, maybe that'll happen. Okay.
Right, Blake. Well, great talking to you about this album. Very interesting. Learned a lot. And we'll do this again soon.
Yes, and thank you for joining me. And I was kind of surprised when you wanted to do a Led Zeppelin one, since you are younger.
We're still one of my favorite bands.
It's
One of my
nice.
favorite bands of all time. So
It's nice to see young people still appreciate.
yeah, we're
Band
young
for
with
the
this stuff.
second.
Still into it.
Okay.
All right.
So thank
You enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, so visit us, our website, www.themetalpit.org, and follow our podcast. And don't forget, I'm on another podcast now called Someone's in My Fruit Cellar podcast. It's a horror movie podcast, but we also pick up 10 tracks that go with the movies. So if you like classic horror movies, check it out. The last one we did was Halloween, on the movie Halloween, Michael Myers. Check it out. And our next movie is going to be Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So make sure you check out that podcast too, please, and follow it. And thanks everybody for listening, and we will talk to you next week.